Assalamualaikum. My name is SHAMIRUL bin Muhammad REDUAN. My metric number is 2025148531. I will start the presentation today with an overview of unemployment in Myanmar, which has become one of the country's most urgent socio-economic problems in recent years. The issue intensified significantly following the military coup in February 2021, which led to a collapse in both political stability and investor confidence. According to data from the International Labour Organization, over 1.6 million jobs were lost that year alone. Major industries such as manufacturing, tourism, agriculture, and services have been severely affected, pushing millions of people into economic uncertainty. A major concern is the over-reliance on the informal sector, where more than 70% of Myanmar workforce is now employed. These jobs typically offer no legal contracts, no job security, and no access to social protection, leaving workers vulnerable to sudden layoff and exploitation. This reality especially impacts young people, women, and rural communities who already face barriers to accessing stable employment and training opportunities. At the same time, ongoing internal conflict and forced displacement have reduced the access to education and livelihood, particularly in conflict-affected states. The destruction of infrastructure, disruption of supply chain, and restriction on trade have further worsened the job market. In the next part of the presentation, my group member will go into detail about two current issues that have further intensified the unemployment crisis, one involving the risk of famine in Rakhine State and the other related to forced labour and scam syndicate operating near the Thai-Myanmar border. These examples reflect how economic desperation is being exploited, and they also highlight the urgent need for long-term solution and policy reforms.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad SHAMIL bin Muhammad HALIM, and today I want to present and explain about the issue that going on in Rakhine, Myanmar. The main issue here is the ongoing conflict and heavy blockades. Because of the fighting between the military and local armed groups, a lot of farmers can safely work their land. Some are scared to even step out into the fields. Markets are also pretty much shut down and roads are blocked, so moving goods around is almost impossible. Even if traders want to bring food in, they just can't. This has caused rice production to crash. Before this, local farmers could produce enough rice to meet around 60% of the state's needs. Now it's down to just 20%. That's a massive drop, all because fields are abandoned and supply chains are broken. On top of that, the military puts strict controls on aid. So even though international groups want to send food and supplies, it's tough to actually get it to the people who need it the most. So the real issue here is not just that there's not enough food, it's that the whole system that should keep people fed and markets moving is basically frozen. Farmers can farm, traders can trade, and aid can get through. That's why this situation is turning from a local conflict into a serious food crisis. Now, let's take a look at the situation along the Myanmar-Thailand border. The issue here is totally different, but just as serious. Organized crime groups have set up scam centers in these border areas. They put out fake job ads promising high-paying work in customer service or online sales, so that the desperate people who are seeking for jobs may travel and hoping for a better life. But once they arrive, it's a trap. Their passports are taken, they are locked up and forced to work in scam operations. They are made to send out fake investment deals, romance scams, and all sorts of online fraud. These centers are not some small-time operations. They are protected by local militias and corrupt networks, which make it hard for authorities to shut them down. So the core issue here is human trafficking mixed with large-scale cybercrime. Victims are triggered and then trapped and forced to scam people worldwide. Even though there have been big police raids freeing thousands, these scam centers keep popping up in new spots. That's why this remains such a stubborn problem.
Now, let's look at the impact of these issues. First, obviously it affects the cost of living. Prices for basic stuff like food and daily items keep going up, so families have to spend more just to survive. Some even have to cut down on meals or pick cheaper and less healthy options. Next, it leads to higher unemployment and more people falling into poverty. When costs rise, a lot of small businesses can't keep up, so some close down, workers lose jobs, and this pushes more people below the poverty line. Then, there is the effect on investor and the currency. When the situation gets unstable, investors start pulling out. This causes the local currency to drop in value, and that makes imports even more expensive. So the cycle just repeats. Last, it impacts social stability. When people can't afford basic needs or can't find jobs, tension builds up, which can lead to protests or more crime. So overall, the impact isn't just about money, but it hits society as a whole. That's why it is crucial for the government to step in with the right policies to control the situation. Now, let's look at the impact of these scam centers on people and the countries involved. First, the most direct impact is on the victim themselves. Many were tricked by fake job offers only to end up trapped in scam compounds. They were forced to work 16 to 20 hours a day, often beaten and tortured, and kept in dirty, cramped spaces. Second, after major crackdown freed more than 7,000 people, most of them now are stranded at the Thailand-Myanmar border. They are stuck in overcrowded facilities, short on food, and with almost no medical care while waiting to be sent back to their home countries. Third, this puts a huge pressure on neighboring countries like Thailand, Myanmar, and China. They are trying to cooperate, but it's tough. Verifying identities, arranging flights home, and funding all this, it is complicated and expensive. Fourth, from an economy and criminal angle, these scam hubs have made millions of dollars through online fraud. Things like fake investment schemes, romance scams, and crypto traps. Many are protected by local militias, which is why the US, Europe, and UK have started imposing sanctions. Finally, there's also a social and political impact. Some victims, once returned home, actually face criminal charges, even though they were the ones exploited. This raises serious justice issues and could even strain international relations. In short, the impact of the scam centers is layered and serious, hurting individual lives. Overloading humanitarian systems, fueling cross-border crime, and challenging fairness and diplomacy. So what needs to be done? Humanitarian corridors must open fast. Countries need to actively repatriate their citizens, and there has to be a global pressure to dismantle the scam hubs and cut off illegal funding.
Hello everyone, my name is SYAZANA binti HAFEZ and my ID number is 2025127796. So today, I want to address one of the most disturbing humanitarian issues in Southern Asia, the rise of scam centers operating along the Myanmar-Thailand borders. Thousands of people, including job seekers from Myanmar, Thailand, and even beyond, have been lured with fake jobs, often and trafficked into compounds where they are forced to carry out online scams. Many are held against their will, abused, and denied basic rights. This crisis is growing in desperation since the 2021 military coup in Myanmar. The economy has collapsed, millions have lost their jobs with no safe opportunities, many fall prey to traffic promising work abroad. So how do we fix this? We need strong coordinated policies at national and regional level to both prevent traffic and create safe economic alternatives. First is about anti-trafficking and justice policies. Government must strengthen anti-trafficking laws, increase border patrol, and dismantle criminal network operating scam centers. Most importantly, rescued individuals should be treated as a victim, not criminal. Second is about safe migration and labor policy. We must open legal protective migration pathway for people seeking jobs abroad. They include tight regulation of recruitment agencies and creating official labor agreement between Myanmar and countries like Thailand. If people can migrate safely, traffickers will lose their power. Third is about economic recovery and jobs. We must tackle the root cause employment. That means investing in job creation, vocational training, and digital skill for youth and displaced people. Programs that support remote work or freelancer jobs can offer lifeline in unstable areas. Fourth is about international and regional cooperation Asia, and the network government must work together to coordinate rescue effort and intelligence sharing. Humanitarian funding should also go to NGO and border communities supporting victims. Fifth is about public awareness. People need to know the sign of trafficking and way to seek help. Campaigns on social media, radio, and in school can educate at-risk community, especially young people, before it's too late. Finally, it's about victim support and reintegrament. We need shelter, trauma care, legal aid, and job programs. Survivors must be given dignity, protective, and real second chance. In conclusion, this is not just a security issue. This is an economic, human right, and public policy crisis. Not by combining justice, employment, education, and international cooperation can we stop the cycle of exploitation. Let's act now, protect the vulnerable, hold traffickers accountable, give people safe path to better future. That's all from me. Thank you. So I will pass to the next presenter. Hi, I'm back. So today I want to highlight an urgent and heartbreaking crisis unfolding in Myanmar, Rakhine State. According to the United Nations, this region is now facing the risk of a major famine, possibly the worst in recent memory. Since the military coup in 2021, Myanmar has suffered a deep economic collapse. In Rakhine, the situation is even more severe due to the conflict, trade blow, and climate-related disaster. The UN report that up to 500,000 people could face starvation, and crop production is expected to drop by nearly 80%. What is causing this? People have lost their jobs, farmers lack seeds and tools, and humanitarian aid is being blocked. Trade routes, especially the border with Bangladesh, are shut down, making it possible for food or relief to reach the people who need it most. So what can be done? First, the Myanmar military must leave trade and aid block in Rakhine. Without open border and transport roads, food cannot reach starving communities. Second, international agencies and NGOs must be grateful access to deliver emergency food, tools, and farming support. Aid workers need to safety and funding to operate effectively. Third, we need to restart agriculture and rebuild jobs. These include providing seeds, fertilizers, and equipment to farmers. Supporting cash for work program and rural employment can stabilize families and reduce hungers. Fourth, policies must focus on protecting the most vulnerable, especially women, youths, and displaced people. So, social support system need to be restored, and safe migration paths should be created to reduce internal displacements. Finally, we must align humanitarian relief with long-term development. This means not just delivering aid, but also rebuilding infrastructure, restoring trade, and supporting place building effort in Rakhine. In conclusion, this is not just a food crisis, it is a human right emergency. Preventing famines in Rakhine requires urgent political action, international cooperation, and deep compassion. We must act quickly, that is not only to feed the hungers, but to give people the dignity of recovery, work, and hopes. So I will pass to next presenter.
In conclusion, unemployment in Myanmar is not just about people losing jobs, it is a humanitarian and economic crisis that is tearing communities apart. Since the military coup, millions have faced job loss, rising poverty, and desperation. As we have seen, this desperation has made people vulnerable to trafficking networks like the scam center on Thai-Myanmar border, where victims are abused, exploited, and often forgotten. Meanwhile, in Rakhine states, people are not just jobless, they are starving. Blocked trade route, armed conflict, and economic ruin have brought the region to the brink of famine. Families have no seed to plant, no work to rely on, and no aid coming through. This is no longer a local issue, it is a global call for urgent action. The impacts are massive: rising poverty, social unrest, mass migration, psychological trauma, and growing sense of hopelessness. Yet, the path forward is still possible. With strong coordinated policies from anti-trafficking laws to safe migration pathways, from emergency aid to rural job program, there is hope. But Myanmar cannot recover alone. International and regional cooperation is critical. Government, NGOs, and institutions like ASEAN and the UN must come together to protect life, restore livelihood, and bring dignity back to affected communities. Ultimately, solving unemployment in Myanmar is not just about fixing the economy. It is about restoring hope, security, and justice for people who need it the most. That's all from us. Thank you.